So this is the first time that the elementary school has literally been in one location under one roof, and it does a lot for the culture of the school. Families appreciate it. It's truly a gift to be able to have all of our grades in one building.
In the very beginning of the project, we visited one of Match's current locations, which, is very broken up. You'd have teachers' desks in kind of, isolated areas, or a lot of kind of makeshift spaces just to be able to make their program work.
The first day was a range of emotions. There was joy, there were smiles, there were screams. Parents who have been with us for years, they know where we have come from. And staff, when they finally were able to move in, there were a lot of tears.
Just to be able to take Match's 3 different locations and centralize them under one roof, was joyous for everybody.
The biggest driving force that made it an interesting challenge and some unknown territory is the fact that it's mostly a modular construction, off-site construction.
So with this kind of hybrid construction approach, what we did is to analyze the building, breaking it down into different components that could be built with different methods.
Modular construction of a school was something that really had not been done before in the city of Boston. I think one of the biggest challenges is that when you do go modular, you have one subcontractor that is, delivering potentially half of the product.
Whitley Manufacturing, they were our modular constructor. They had 3 separate plants building our buildings for us, and then we had Steel Tech, who was actually our steel building manufacturer. So they were building the gym portion of Building C.
So setting the modular units was a learning process.
85% of everything came exactly as we expected. There was pretty accurate information from the manufacturer as far as where they were installing ductwork, the heights that they were installing things at.
Our carpenters controlled all of the layout, and they kind of gave the final say on this is where the box needs to be placed.
We had issues where 2 units would come together, supposed to be, maybe a 5-foot section of duct to tie those 2 units together, but it ends up being like a 2-foot gap, and then the opening for that 2-foot gap was probably another 2 feet, so we couldn't even get the duct into that space.
You got to make sure that, none of the ends are tweaked, because if you start going down the line, that 1/4 of an inch might turn into 2 inches it's offset.
Commodore proved that this kind of hybrid approach could be built in a 12-month, just 1-year construction schedule instead of what would have been with all site-built construction, for example, a 16-month construction schedule. And that was really important to this owner, to get the students in August to open up the school year in time.
In the city of Boston and the state of Massachusetts is still evolving their permitting process on what they allow. So there was a long permitting process that we all had to get to know on how the city is going to approve these, how the state of Massachusetts approved these. One of the major concerns here was transportation, about getting these here, particularly when we were going to be starting delivery of these in February and March, when we had one of the worst winters we had.
The advantage for us was, in Indiana, these things were still being built under controlled condition in a warehouse, so that production never stopped. And in fact, we actually delayed shipment because we weren't ready on site.
It was nonstop snowfall, every single week. Our only fear and worry was, is there going to be enough of a window of time to get the units into Boston?
We were able to accept about 5 modular units a day. You have to line up permits and escorts through every state that you pass through. We tried to really anticipate and recognize this issue were that we might not receive the 6 that we were expecting. On Fridays and Mondays, Connecticut wouldn't allow an oversized load to drive through the state. So we tried to always almost like backlog ourselves, and just give ourselves some insurance so we weren't losing time on the job site.
One challenge in particular on this job was going to be working within the neighborhood and making sure the neighbors stay happy. It's a small side street, and there's going to be a lot of vehicle traffic coming in and off the sites, especially when the modulars started showing up.
We communicated with them every day. I went and knocked on their door if anything was going to happen out of the ordinary. Anytime we were going to work extra hours or on Saturdays, we were just good neighbors, basically. We did what we could to keep them happy and keep them notified. Communication's the key.
The Match School, who we've worked with before, had a lot of players already there. They had a trusted advisor on construction. They brought in a high-level OPM to work with them. They had an architect they'd already been brought on. They had done a lot of work before we were hired to do it. And to be brought onto a job like that with so many players, it became instantly apparent that we had to do a lot of collaboration with them.
People each brought their separate skills to bear, tried to solve problems as they came up. I think there was a sense of fairness and camaraderie amongst the team that was very valuable, I think, to the success of the project.
I'd worked with the Commodore before. Pretty much everybody in the team had, so that was good. We were very pleased.
One thing that kind of drew me to construction to begin with was the fact that you build something and it's sort of going to be there for a very, very long time. And this one in particular was right in Hyde Park, and I grew up in Hyde Park. It's a street that I drive down all the time. So for me, it's something I'll definitely be proud of. Pass it on to my kids and my grandkids, and maybe my kids or grandkids will go to that school eventually, and I can tell them, hey, I built this for you.
So this is an upgrade for our students, our staff, for our families. We've definitely gone from having the bare minimum to run a school to having a beautiful campus here. The kids love the exterior, the blue and gray. The classrooms inside are spacious. One of the biggest things, for the kids at least, is the gym. They're very excited about the gym. They didn't have a gym before, and now we have this beautiful, huge, state-of-the-art gym. We're excited about the playground, the field. It truly just feels like a school to the kids. And I think the parents appreciate the investment that we've made to, make sure that their kids are able to attend school in a very nice facility.